cycle of doomers. After almost 8 years of constant conspiracies that have turned out to be not just conspiracy theories, but true and realized with receipts, conspiracies. Your average conservative, patriot, and even libertarian has gotten to the point that they are in a perpetual cycle of doom, believing that nothing will ever actually get done. But how do you sweep massive amounts, billions of dollars worth of treasonous activity, under the rug? How do you continue to perpetuate the lies, the gaslighting, the deception? One of the main tactics that the left and the deep state use on a regular basis is paralleling headlines. Something comes out about the corruption of Hunter Biden, for instance. The Devin Archer testimony yesterday in Congress is a great example. And of course the day when it would be running rapidly across the newsfeed of all the major news outlets, they go and pull more indictments on Donald Trump. And therefore Trump, indicted, is all you see on the headlines. All of the cases that they are trying to indict Trump with are completely farcical, like the document case in Mara Minus Lago, for instance. First of all, a couple months before all of this garbage came out to the public and Mara Minus Lago was raided, Trump had just spoken with the government and the people from the documents library both on how to keep records. He actually went to the effort of building a more secure lock system in a room just for this purpose. But Donald Trump had every right to have those documents as a president of the United States. But then only weeks later we find that Joe Biden himself had multiple boxes, many more in various places, of documents ranging from all the way back into the 1970s when he was first in the government, all the way up until current era when he was vice president, and they were at different locations, all of which were not secured properly. Some of these documents even rested within a house, in a garage, next to a Corvette, that Hunter had full access to a non-approved, someone with no clearance, a drug habit, and now to be known using the family name to sell influence. The corrupt Dodge and FBI are going to continue on with this fiasco until someone is so red-handedly caught that the corruption, some is no escape from prosecution. I do believe that this case with Hunter Biden, with the 20 shell companies and bank accounts and payments going out to different and various family members, including Joe Biden, may just be that red-handed. The problem is manyfold. You've got a corrupt Department of Justice, the corrupt FBI, and tons of corrupt politicians on both sides of the fence, both Republican and Democrat. Someone has either totally brainwashed these people, or some of these people have done something or other, be it pedophilia related, which is a distinct possibility, and a theory going around, or some other criminal activity that has been documented and is being held over their heads as blackmail. They are told you will comply and follow and toe the line, or we will out you on this particular thing that we coerced you into doing. And with AI these days, how can we even tell if any of these things that they have been coerced into doing or did voluntarily for that matter, or even real? It would not take much to basically blackmail anyone who is a politician, or a FBI agent or Dodge agent, or a judge for that matter. Our country has been co-opted by an evil faction of human beings, their full intent to destroy and gain all the resources that they can from this country in a destructive manner, using all sorts of political games, including things like climate change. A good portion of the population can see these lies and deceptions, this gaslighting, and are done with it. We are done with our political heroes being political prisoners of January 6, while the video sits there proving their innocence. We are tired of the constant on the take politicians. We are tired of those who are scared to make a move. We are sick and tired of being manipulated and controlled by those that are supposed to be manipulated and controlled by us. They have forgotten over the last several decades who they work for. They work for us, not the other way around. They are funding proxy wars, using illegal weapons and lies and deceptions to basically cover up their biolabs and their money laundering and their sex trafficking rings and their drug trafficking rings that make them copious amounts of money. No politician should go into the government with a relatively low level of funds in their bank account and income and come out multi-million or billionaires for that matter. There is nothing in their salary that would explain this huge multiplication of their financial liquidity, except for being on the take, being corrupt, and utterly them being treasonous. The corruption, a lot of it absolutely bordering on or standing directly on the giant X of treasonous rampant throughout our government. They are scared. They know we see them. They know that we are not going to put up with this forever. They want to keep us in a state of doom, gloom, and fear. It is the only way they think they can manage the herd of sheep they perceive us as. But we are not sheep. We are lions and lionesses waiting in the brush, and they are a little more than a pack of gazelles, lunch on the hoof. Try as they might, there is very little room left to run before they themselves run off the cliff and into oblivion. We as the people of this country, it took us some time, but we know all their names and we know a good portion of their crimes, enough to put them away for life. They just do not realize the position that they are in. But as well, we the people do not realize the power that the Constitution has been drawn up to a lot of us. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the 2020 election was stolen. Not a single tiny bit of doubt, nor was there a single tiny bit of doubt in any of the minds of the people that showed up in Washington, D.C. on January 6 would appear to be at least hundreds of thousands, if not close to 1 million of us. We showed them just by being there what there was to fear. Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C. decided not to accept any help from the military that Trump offered. This seems kind of weird to me. Why would they not take the help? That's because they had the corruption and the interruption of Congress planned. The plan was this. They knew where so very few people of this country actually knew that the states that had been stolen had also sent a Trump set of electors and a complaint that should have been handled by Vice President Pence. They weren't sure if Pence was going to handle it or not handle it, so they became nervous, and they devised a plan with the help of the feds, the FBI, one of their beautifully orchestrated false flags purposefully perpetrated on the people, and joined in by provocateurs who I was giving notice via my YouTube channel and social media presence. That we're going to be there dressed as Trump supporters, disguise the cause chaos on purpose. It was the plan. I knew the plan, and I warned people. I warned them ahead of time, and as soon as I warned them, they started taking down my Twitter account, my Facebook account, and my YouTube channel strike after strike after strike. They did not want this information out there in the public, just like they did not want the videos of the live feeds of what was going on at the Capitol building that day. The police purposely threw their gas bombs behind the crowd, forcing them toward the building. The police let the people into the building. They were provocateurs in the crowd, purposefully inciting the riot. The people on the stairs that you saw in the videos, if you saw those videos at all, those were the disguised Antifa people. You can tell Trump supporters don't wear their hair like that, dress like that, or would even go to an event looking like those people did. You can tell a liberal by their parents no matter what costume they put on. It's plain and simple. And to top it off, just about an hour or two before the whole fiasco popped off, you could see a group of very militant-looking, supposed Trump supporters marching up and down the street sidewalk by the Capitol building, screaming, "Who streets ours?" Streets, a saying that you would never ever, ever hear out of a Trump-supporting patriot. That has been a communist Antifa BLM cant for the last 8 years. If you watched any of the videos of these people riding in 2020 in the summer of love, you would have heard them chanting the same thing and acting the same way, militantly lined up like a little army. They were all wearing Trump gear, all wearing red hats pretty much for the most part, something you do not see in a Trump crowd. I've been to a rally. That's not how everybody was dressed. Yes, you will see some red Trump hats, but you'll also see some black ones, and some white ones, and some that are not Trump hats at all, but that say something like 1776 or Patriot, or just having American flag as a logo on the front of them, and even for jobs hats that say nothing political whatsoever. Not everybody likes to be at advertising billboard, but every one of these people in this marching group was wearing almost identical hats like they ordered them from the GOP shop. How do I know about the GOP shop? Because I ordered some hats from the GOP shop myself to sell in my local markets in the area, and you know what happened when I posted them up on the local Facebook market page. I got banned from posting on Marketplace or any local market sites for a month for posting Trump hats. These people are communists. They are evil, they are corrupt, they are treasons. They think they have won, but they are not even close to the finish line. And we'll be waiting right there for them when they attempt to cross it. That's not a threat, it's a promise. Because America's awake and we're watching you, you treasonous lot. Every single one of you involved should be in jail at very least. Start the heads rolling. It is time for our voices to be heard. Make sure you tell a neighbor and tell a friend. Explain to everyone you know how deeply the trees and runs, and now we the people are their bosses, the government, not the other way around. They spend time teaching us lies and propaganda in school, so much so that people don't even understand that we are the ones that are supposed to be in control of this system. That is how it was designed, and that is how it must return to immediately. We must make it return there. A good government, the people. Don't fear the government fears the people, and that's the way it should be. We can no longer stand idly by with our voices silenced. We must speak about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden in Ukraine, and charisma, and the war in Ukraine, and Sam Bankman-Fried and money laundering and crypto, and deals behind closed doors with China. We must speak of money laundering and biolabs. We must speak of a corrupted system that created a pandemic to kill us off and then injected us if we fell for their ruse with poison. They want to shut down, but we must speak out. No more pussyfooting around the people that don't know anything about politics and don't want to hear it. It's time for them to hear it. They're not going to hear it from mainstream media news. They're not going to hear it on the radio or TV if they haven't heard it by now. This corruption, this mass treason, must be ended, and it must be done starting now. No excuses, give no quarter.